Hey team, you're watching Hide and Sneakz, and it's crazy to think that we're halfway through the year of 2025. So to recognize that achievement, I wanted to look at the first half of the year and point out my 10 favorite releases. Now these aren't in any order, and this is personally based on my take, not necessarily the resale market or popularity. So there might be some pairs in here you're surprised to do, but I did want to have a talk about that. As I said, these are not ranked in any order. But before we start off with that, I do want to give out a couple honorable mentions. So the first pair that I want to start off by giving an honourable mention to is the black metallic 5s. Now this pair is a classic and absolutely iconic Jordan 5, but what I found so interesting was there was so much demand for this shoe. Now we've seen the sneaker market this year has been pretty down, so it was quite surprising to see the amount of popularity behind the shoe. Granted, it's an incredibly iconic and great wear shoe, but the resale prices on this were absolutely crazy, and I was stunned at how many raffles I missed on this, thinking it was going to be an easy win. But one of the things I really liked about the shoe, apart from the fact that it was a great opportunity to get back a pair that a lot of us really wanted for a long time in its true form, was this really showed that the sneaker market is picking back up. So it's really positive to see that, because I think it's been in a bit of a weird place, and we want to make sure that there's still demand so that Nike and Jordan continue to put out great models. Moving on to my next honorable mention, and that is the Nike Foamposite in the Psychic Blue colorway. I really love uni blue and I really love Nike foams, so to kind of mix those two vibes together I think is an absolute win. Now I know Foamposite hype hasn't returned for everyone yet, but for me it was really cool to see this pair because it was a bit of a fresh take of both a look and kind of outer material than what we've typically seen on some of the past release foams, so I was really keen to get this pair in hand, and seeing it in hand I thought it was a fantastic release, and if it wasn't for another pair it would have been my top Foamposite that is released this year. Up next is my third honorable mention, which goes to the triple black Flightposites. Now a lot of people kind of disregard this pair or may not even know about it. They kind of would associate it potentially and group it with the Foamposite, but I think it stands on its own as a pretty cool, unique silhouette and vibe. So having that easy wear collection, if you missed out on the black Foamposites from a couple years ago, this is a great pickup for a similar vibe. So I think it's a really cool pair, but just missing out on our top 10 of releases for the first half of this year. Which leads me to my final honorable mention, which is the Harden Volume 9 in the Hellcat colorway. Now I like the shoe because it just looks tough. It's weird to be ranking a performance modern Adidas sneaker in this space, but I just think it looks really striking. Now honestly I didn't expect to be liking this model as much as I have been this year, but I think the model itself looks really cool, and in this particular colorway it just looks tough, which is why it deserves an honorable mention for one of my favorite releases of the year. And that's enough about honorable mentions. Let's jump into our top 10. Starting off with this first pair here, and that is the Jordan 12 in the mellow colorway. Now I really do like this pair. I think it's a very clean take on a Jordan 12. It's great to have had a retro with a bit of history behind it, and it's great to have everything that you need for a good wearable white pair. We've got solid wearable leather with a nice easy to wear accent color. I think this is a clean pair, so definitely worth having in people's top 10. Moving on to the next pair, and I've got the Kobe 6 in the LA Dodgers colorway. Now I really do like this pair because I do like Kobe pairs in general, but I think sometimes the problem with them is they're so focused on being electric and performance driven that they don't really have that wearability, and for me I really like the wearability of this pair. So the Kobe 6 LA Dodgers is such a great pair. The next pair on my top 10 I have is the Air Jordan 3 in the Lucky Shorts colorway, and what I really like about this pair is it looks very clean, super wearable, and feels a little bit more elevated than the typical Jordan 3s that we get. That little switch out of the elephant print makes it feel a little bit more elevated. The colours overall look quite solid, similar to how the Mellow 12s are. And I think this is a pair that you can wear with so many different outfits, dress up, dress down, and it will look good. So I've got to have it in my top 10 for that reason. Next on my top 10, I have this pair here, the Jordan 1 85 version of the Reds. Now this pair almost feels a little bit like an urban myth because it was so well advertised, and then the run of it was so small, and I didn't see anyone that I knew of actually hit on this pair. That said, it's still one of the best Jordan 1 colorways, and then given the 85 treatment with decent materials, how can this not be in your top 10? The only problem is obviously it was such a short supply run, which was so weird because the marketing on it was so huge. but I can't not put this on my list because of both the iconicness and because if I was given the choice, I would absolutely jump at this pair. Continuing on through our top 10, the next pair I have is this Kobe here on the Kobe 5 Year of the Mamba in the Eggplant colorway. Now this is a really cool one. It's acknowledging both Kobe, it's acknowledging both the zodiac year of the Year of the Snake. It's a really cool pair to tie on in general, and I think it just looks really elevated. Now there's a lot I like about this pair, from the actual snake on the shoe to the shade of purple they've used. It's a little bit reminiscent of the Eggplant Foamposites, but all in all, with the embroidery and the parts on the side, it just feels really elevated, especially for a Kobe 5. So I think it's a really great pickup, and again, it's something that you can wear as a Kobe, as a zodiac recognition shoe, a daily rocker, performance pair. So it ticks all those boxes, and it has to tick the box of being a top 10 for me. We're now halfway through the top 10, and I still have 5 more, so let's get to the second half of the top 10 with this pair here, and that is the Jordan 1 Union LA collab, this time on the Chicago color blocking. Now, we really loved this pair last time we saw it. It was really popular for the first 2 models that released, and I think Union LA set a really high standard about how you do a collaboration on a Jordan 1 model. So for me, I had really high expectations on how Union LA handled the next collaboration, and I think they did a really good job. Now I like the take, obviously anything to do with the Chicago Jordan 1 is going to probably be pretty successful, but when you're kind of continuing on with this already this legacy of collaborations, I think there's going to be a lot of pressure, but they did a fantastic job. Materials look solid. I would love to get my hands on this. I do have a cheeky bid on this on StockX, so hopefully it gets accepted, but I definitely think this belongs on everyone's top 10 list. Moving on to my next pair in the top 10, and I hinted before that the last Foamposite I had in the honorable mentions was my second favorite for the year, and that's because this one exists here, and this is the Nike Foamposite in the triple white colorway. Now this one only barely makes it through, I think, for a lot of countries it released around like June the 30th, so it only just made it into this first half rankings, but I think it's such a clean colorway. What I really like about the Foamposite silhouette is it does sort of show off some of the tech features and the physical design of that, and in some colorways you don't really get to highlight that in the best way you possibly can, but in this one, in the triple white, it really shows the lines well. So for me, great pickup, super wearable, and a great addition to sneak right in to that first half of 2025. Moving on to this next one, and it is an OG staple. There is no way we could have any list for the top shoes of 2025 in the first half without talking about this pair here. That is, of course, the Air Jordan 4 in the white cement colorway. Now this is an incredible pinnacle peak OG retro colorway, 4 colorway, white colorway, whatever it is, everyone had to chase this pair. The amount of scrambling I did myself to get this pair as a size fit thing was a feat in its own, but thankfully I got the tip from someone that still had it and rushed myself to it, and thankfully got the pair. But for me, I just can't help but not rank this in the top 10. I've ranked this in the top 5 even, because it's such an iconic and wearable pair, and great to see it retro again. Moving on to my second to last pair of my top 10 for 2025, and it's this collaboration here on a Nike Air Force with Little Yachty. Now, I know this is probably going to seem like a really strange pick, but a big part of what got me really excited into buying certain Nikes and Jordans was I ended up watching a documentary about a collaboration in a skate shop. They had all these crazy pairs on MTV way back when I was younger. And I found it really cool when I saw the particular skate shop showing Nike SB Dunks and Nike Air Forces in these insane, crazy colors. So for me, I've always been drawn to having Air Forces that had that really loud, over-the-top presence, and I think the Little Yachties do a great job at kind of recognizing that sort of homage to that time in sneakers. I don't think we've seen a few Air Forces like this in quite some time done tastefully, so for me, I had to put that on my top 10. And that just leaves one more pair in the top 10 for 2025 for the first half of the year. Another retro, this time on the Jordan 5, and that is the retro of the Grapes. Now, the Jordan 5 Grapes I think are an awesome pair. They're just so iconic in the colors that they have. That teal and that purple shouldn't go together, but they do so well on the silhouette. It's big, it's chunky, it's in your face. I think it's a fantastic pair and great to see a retro. And it has to be a very good retro. That was only because of the Jordan 5 Grapes that the Jordan 5 Black Metallics would put in my top 10. So I think it's a fantastic pair and pickup and should be on everyone's chase list for this year. Well, that's it. We're at the end of our top 10, and I know there's going to be a few ones on there people are absolutely surprised. I know there's no brick by bricks on there. That will shock some people. I know some people wonder why I didn't put the Foamposite Galaxies, considering such a Foamposite head on there. but I had to stay true to my top 10. I would love to know in the comment section below what your top 10 is. Do you agree with some, or do you have a completely different list? By all means, put it down in the comment section below. I would love to hear your thoughts. In the meantime, feel free to like and subscribe. Thank you so much for watching, and all the best chasing sneakers in the second half of 2025. See you guys.